$14,000. Gone, and the car still doesn't work. Imagine handing over that kind of money, month after month, repair after repair, to a dealership that keeps promising a fix that never comes. Now imagine it's your elderly father, a kind, trusting man who doesn't want to cause trouble, a man who just wants his car to run. That's exactly what happened to one family in London, Kentucky. And when the full picture came into focus, it revealed something far darker than just bad mechanics. It revealed what happens when a vulnerable person gets caught between a predatory repair cycle, a failed warranty company, and a vehicle with a defect the manufacturer has known about for years. This is a story about exploitation, about a family finally asking the right questions, and about the legal options that exist when a dealership takes you for a ride, literally and figuratively. Let's start with the basics. The vehicle in question is a 2017 Lincoln MKC, a compact luxury SUV sold under Ford's Lincoln brand. It's the kind of car that projects reliability and prestige. It's the kind of car an older person might choose specifically because they want something dependable, something that won't give them trouble. For years, that's more or less what this father had. But sometime around October of last year, the car developed a misfire. A misfire, for those who aren't car people, is when one or more of your engine's cylinders fails to ignite fuel properly. It can feel like a rough idle, a shudder, a loss of power. It can be minor, or it can be a symptom of something deeply wrong. In this case, it turned out to be a symptom of something very deeply wrong. But the dealership either didn't know that, didn't care, or worse, didn't want to admit it. This father also had a vehicle service contract through a company called CarShield. He'd been paying into it for 5 years. 5 years of monthly premiums, all building toward exactly this kind of moment. But when the moment came, CarShield denied the claim. Their reason? He drove the car to the shop instead of having it towed. That was enough for them to wash their hands of the entire situation. Just like that, 5 years of payments meant nothing. He was on his own. So he did what many people in his situation would do. He trusted the dealership. He brought the car in, they diagnosed it, they gave him a number, and he paid. And then the problem came back. So he brought it in again, and paid again, and again, and again. Here is where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Over the course of several months, this dealership replaced the engine, they replaced the spark plugs, they replaced the wires, they replaced the catalytic converter, they replaced, in the words of his family, everything under the sun. Each visit came with a new invoice. Each invoice chipped away at this man's savings, and each time he drove away thinking the nightmare was finally over, the misfire returned. By the time his family started paying close attention, the total charges had climbed past $14,000. $14,000 for repairs on a vehicle that, after all of it, still did not run correctly. Now let's pause on something, because this detail is important. On one of the visits, the dealership told this father that his battery was completely dead. Stone dead, they said. The car wouldn't even start, they told him. He came to the dealership to check on things. The car started right up. No hesitation, no problem whatsoever. Think about what that means. Either the dealership made an error so fundamental that they couldn't correctly assess whether a battery worked, or they told a customer something false to justify charging him for a battery replacement. Neither option is acceptable. Both options are alarming. His family described him as a kind old man who doesn't want to stir the pot. That's an incredibly common personality type, and predatory businesses know it. There is a reason door-to-door scammers target elderly neighborhoods. There is a reason certain contractors specifically seek out older homeowners. People who were raised to be polite, to trust authority figures, to avoid confrontation. They are statistically more likely to absorb financial abuse without pushing back. It's not a character flaw. It's a feature that bad actors exploit. Now here's where the story takes a significant turn. While his family was researching options online, they stumbled onto something that recontextualized the entire situation. There is an active class action lawsuit against Ford related to 2017 through 2019 Lincoln MKC vehicles. The lawsuit centers on a known design flaw in the EcoBoost engine, specifically a defect that causes coolant to leak into the engine cylinders. When coolant enters the cylinders, it causes persistent misfires. It can also cause catastrophic engine damage over time. Let that sink in for a moment. Ford, Lincoln's parent company, has been named in a class action lawsuit for the exact type of problem this man has been experiencing in the exact model year of his vehicle. And throughout all of those dealership visits, throughout all of those expensive repairs, at no point did anyone at this dealership apparently mention to this customer that his vehicle might be subject to known manufacturer defect litigation. Was that an oversight? Was it negligence? Or was it a deliberate choice to keep the repair cycle going and keep the money flowing? We can't say for certain, but we can say that a customer deserved to know that information. Especially a customer who had already spent thousands of dollars chasing a problem that might be the manufacturer's responsibility to begin with. So what legal options exist in a situation like this? Let's walk through them. The first and most immediately relevant avenue is the class action lawsuit itself. If you own a 2017, 2018, or 2019 Lincoln MKC and you've experienced persistent misfires, especially ones linked to coolant issues, you may be eligible to join this existing lawsuit. Class action participation typically doesn't require you to do much beyond registering your information with the attorneys handling the case. If the lawsuit succeeds, affected owners may be entitled to compensation for repair costs, related damages, and other losses. The website tied to this specific lawsuit is a starting point for finding out if you qualify. The second avenue is a consumer protection complaint. Every state has a consumer protection office, and most accept complaints about deceptive business practices. What this dealership allegedly did, charging thousands for repairs that didn't fix the problem, potentially misrepresenting the condition of the vehicle to justify additional charges, could constitute unfair and deceptive trade practices under state law. In Kentucky, where this took place, the Consumer Protection Act prohibits unfair, false, misleading, or deceptive acts in trade or commerce. Filing a complaint costs nothing and creates an official record. The third avenue is the State Attorney General's office, which in many states handles investigations into businesses with patterns of consumer complaints. If multiple customers have had similar experiences with this particular dealership, a formal complaint could trigger a broader investigation. The fourth avenue is small claims court or civil litigation. $14,000 in documented charges for repairs that failed to fix the problem is a substantial sum. An attorney specializing in consumer law or automotive repair fraud could evaluate whether there is a viable lawsuit against the dealership directly. Many consumer protection attorneys work on contingency, meaning they don't get paid unless you win. A consultation is typically free. The fifth avenue, and this is important, is going back to CarShield and pushing harder on that denial. Warranty and service contract denials are not always final. If the denial was based on a technicality, driving versus towing, an attorney could argue that the company used an unreasonable technicality to avoid a legitimate claim. Depending on the state, that kind of bad faith denial can itself be actionable. What does this story teach the rest of us? A few things, and they're worth remembering. First, if your vehicle has persistent problems that aren't being resolved after multiple repairs, do your research. Look up whether your make, model, and year has any known defects, technical service bulletins, or active litigation. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration website allows you to search by vehicle for complaints and investigations. 5 minutes of research could save you thousands of dollars. Second, ask dealerships directly. Is this vehicle subject to any known manufacturer defects or recalls related to this issue? Put the question in writing. If they lie to you in writing, that becomes evidence. Third, keep every single receipt, invoice, and written communication from any repair shop. Documentation is the foundation of every legal claim. If you're in the middle of an ongoing dispute right now, start compiling your records immediately. Fourth, don't let politeness become a financial liability. Being kind is a virtue. Being exploited because you're kind is a tragedy. There is nothing impolite about asking for documentation, asking questions, or consulting an attorney. Standing up for yourself through legal channels is exactly what those channels are there for. And finally, if something feels wrong, It probably is. $14,000 in a problem that never gets fixed does not represent bad luck. It represents a pattern. Patterns have explanations, and explanations, when you find them, can be the beginning of accountability. If this has happened to you, if you've had a vehicle repaired repeatedly for the same issue without resolution, if you've been charged for parts or services that seem unnecessary, or if you own a 2017 to 2019 Lincoln MKC and you've dealt with persistent misfires, do not ignore it. Start with a free consultation from a consumer protection attorney. File a complaint with your state attorney general and look into the class action lawsuit against Ford. You may already be entitled to compensation you don't even know about yet. If you found this video useful, subscribe so you don't miss the next one. We cover real legal situations, real consumer rights, and the information that powerful companies would rather you didn't have. Someone out there needs to hear this. Share it with them.